I'm Ellie from The Dark Imp, helping parents reclaim family time by playing board games together. So today I want to show you two new games from The Dark Imp. We've got Gnome Grown and Don't Count Your Chickens. Now both of these games can be found within the first puzzle box, and if you didn't catch the video about the puzzle box, there's a link in their notes below. So they're available in the puzzle box, but they're also available as individually if you like the look of one of the games and you want to buy that on its own. So let me tell you about them. They've both got a sort of garden theme, and there's lots of garden animals going on in both of these games, but they're quite different and they feel very different. So let's start with Gnome Grown. Gnome Grown is a competitive gardening game. Each player has a different garden board, so this is the purple player's garden, and each garden is split up into different sections. So you can see that the sections are split up by the fences. And during the game you're going to get different tiles. So we've got 3 different kinds of tiles here. These are the ground tiles. They're quite big. They sit over 4 different squares on the garden board. The ground tiles, there are 4 different kinds of ground tiles. The feature tiles, there are 4 different kinds of feature tiles. These sit over 2 squares in the garden. And the animal tiles, these are much smaller, as you can see. They fit over 1 square on the garden board. And so you're trying to gather these different tiles as you go through the game and place them on in your garden in certain configurations that will score you points. So each player has got starts at the beginning of the game with 3 different objective cards, and you can acquire more objectives as you go through the game. And your objectives, that tells you how many points you're going to score if you manage to get the certain combination on this card within 1 section of the garden. So if you look on the left hand side here, if you manage to get a rabbit and a bench and a pond tile, so that's the animal, feature and ground tile, all within 1 section of your garden, then you're going to get 6 points at the end of the game. If you only manage to get 2 of the 3, you'll get 2 points at the end of the game. Now, when you're placing things in your garden, you can place in more than 1 section. So these ones can straddle sections. This, for example, is now sitting in 3 different sections. It's sitting in the top section here. It's sitting in this little section down here, and it's sitting in this big section over here. So this would count as being within 3 different sections. Your feature tiles, they can straddle 2 sections if you want them to. They can go vertically or horizontally. And your animal tiles, they can only go in 1 section. There's an upside down rabbit. Well, now it's a fallen over rabbit. Okay, so what you're trying to do is dictated by the objective cards that you have. So you'll have 3 different cards, and you can gather more as you go through the game. It doesn't matter if you have more than you can do. There's no hand limit, so you can take as many as you can during the game. But of course, it takes an action to take more objective tiles. And this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of the gameplay. How do you get all these tiles? How do you get these objective cards? Well, here's the action selection board. And in each round, you're going to select a certain number of actions which you're then going to execute. So for example, you could take a face-up ground tile, or you could move 3 features. The 3 different kinds of tiles are put out in different ways, and they have different kinds of actions associated with them. So you can move things, you can clear the board, you can regenerate different things, you can have a peek at the animals that are all face down. You can take objectives. You can draw 3 and choose 1, or you can take an objective from the top of the discard pile. In this game, the currency is ladybirds. And if you've got ladybirds, then you can pay to do actions that other people might not be able to afford to do. Because there's a limited number of actions and you're going to be competing for these actions. So if somebody goes on take an animal, and you really wanted that, you might be able to go on pay the gnome for an animal. Now the gnome likes being paid in ladybirds. Here's the gnome. And the gnome lives on the gnome track. he starts over here, and during the game he moves down the garden path. And he ends over here. And wherever the gnome is sitting, whatever number he's sitting on, that's the number of ladybirds you can pay to do one of those special actions. Also, there's a space on the action selection board that allows you to take ladybirds from the gnome. He keeps all his ladybirds in the potting shed, and that's at the bottom of the board. So he starts off with none, so you're going to have to give the gnome things. Now the way that you give the gnome ladybirds, apart from paying to do special actions, is in the bidding round. So each round has several phases, and after you've reset the board, you're going to bid for turn order. Now turn order is important because if you are first player, you're going to get to select your actions before someone else gets to. So you have a real advantage. So to bid for turn order, you're going to select as many ladybirds as you want to in your hand, and you're going to put them hidden out in front of the table so that everybody, when everybody's got their hand out, everybody knows everybody else is ready to reveal their bids. So then you open your hand, and you might have nothing in it, but you might have some ladybirds in it. And you count up the number of ladybirds that you have in your hand, and you add the number on the turn marker that you had from the previous round. So this, if you were player 3 last time, you're going to get 3 points towards your bid this round, which gives people who've been lower in the turn order an advantage on the next turn. So you're going to have to bid really high up if you want to take turn advantage of those players who were disadvantaged last time. And then you're going to reallocate these according to the new playing order. So if you bid the highest, you're going to get player 1. So you're going to start this turn. Everybody selects their actions, and it goes around player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, and you do that several times, and then player 1 executes all her actions at once. So during the course of the game, you might get to be starting player several times. You might be last player a few times as well. You just need to manage your player order, make sure you have enough ladybirds so that you can bid, so that you can get the actions you want to create the garden that's going to give you the most points. That is Gnome Grown. Okay, so now let's look at Don't Count Your Chickens. Just like Gnome Grown, Don't Count Your Chickens comes in a puzzle box. It comes in the same puzzle box as Gnome Grown, but you can buy it on its own as well if you want to. So Don't Count Your Chickens, as you can see, is a really light portable game that's really easy to slip in your suitcase or in your handbag if you're going out, so that you've got something to do when you're out and about. This is a game of hidden secret information. In the game, just throwing them everywhere. In the game there are different animal cubes. So hold on a sec. There are some red cubes. They represent roosters. There are yellow ones that represent chickens, and there are grey ones which represent turkeys. And you're going to start with one of each of these at the beginning of the game. But having one of each isn't going to win you the game. You need to gather a bigger flock as you go through the game. And there are actions that you can take that will allow you to gather your flock. But there are also actions that you can take that allow you to discover the information. Because we don't know how valuable each of these birds is going to be. And each game is going to be different. So at the beginning of the game, during your setup, there are these different rule cards, and the rule book explains how to set it up and how to select different cards. But you're going to select different cards at random, which form the rules for your particular game, and you're not going to look at them. Nobody's going to know what those rules are. They're going to be hidden underneath these rule marker cards. So on the table in front of each person, there'll be one of these rule marker cards, and then depending on how many people are playing, there'll be others in the middle. There are also, what we don't know is which animal is which. So the rules, they only refer to animals by letters. Animal A is worth twice animal B. That's what this rule says. but we don't know which is animal A, animal B, and animal C. So we have our chicken, our turkey, and our rooster cards, and they are split up at random and covered by these animal marker cards. So you're going to have something like this on the table as well. So there's a lot of information that's really useful to find out, but that you're going to have to balance how much you find out with also getting your increasing your flock. There are a number of different action cards which allow you to do different things. For example, this one allows you to look at someone else's rule or animal card, and then you're going to pay them an animal from your flock. This one allows you to swap your animal or rule card with one in the middle. You might take 2 animals from the market. So you can see these ones are about finding out more information, but this one is about building your flock. And there are others. And each time you take an action, you're going to cover that action with your character card. So each player has a different character, and you're going to cover it to show that no one else can take that action. So there's competition for the different kinds of action. And as you develop information, as you learn which animals are more valuable, maybe chickens ends up being worth 4 points and turkeys is only worth 1, you're going to try and optimize your flock. You might try and offload some of your animals onto other people. You might try and leave animals in the coop, which is constructed with part of the box. So you use the box lid to form the coop. And some of the cards allow you to take cubes from the coop, and some require you to pay into the coop. So, a game of hidden information and competitive poultry flock gathering. That's Don't Count Your Chickens.